great rabbis of yesteryear. Now we're concentrating today on the Rabbi Shmuel Shalem Z, Tzaddik Libracha, one of the great rabbis of his time, living very much part of the Ottoman Empire and the Ottoman territories in of itself. It was reported over he was born in the year 1688 and most likely, according to Hayomi website, passed away in the year 1768. In fact, the Hilula of his date is not exactly known, but the Hilula will be commemorated, according to some opinions, on Chaf Iyar, because I believe that was the last time he wrote the book of his Melech Shalem, the second Chalek. His last sentence was actually written on that day. It's documented from this source over here. So he was born and came from great rabbinic auspices. I believe his father was a famous, wealthy man. His name was Yitzchak Shalem, and was born in the year 1688 in Greece, in Saloniki. That was very much part of the Ottoman Empire in of its day. He would grow up in Torah and Yirat Shamayim through the great rabbis of Saloniki in his age of itself. There was various great different rabbis that lived in that place. Remember, we've spoken about Saloniki. It was golden age era, especially in 16 and 1700s over there. And he was a Talmid of a famous rabbi who we've mentioned on various occasions before, Rav Avram Gatini, I believe. He happened to be, I believe, the author of the book called the Tirat Kesef. And he would also learn under the knees of another great rabbi we just mentioned, I think, only a few weeks ago, Rav Shmuel Florentin, who happened to be the author of the Shut, the Shelot Shuvot, question and answers book called the Me'il Shmuel. And many people, I think it's documented somewhere that some people suggested that he was a brother of Rav Asher Shalem, but I have to double check on that, who happened to be the author of the great book, the Mata Asher, in of itself, and very much it was a very great family in itself, and I think there was a great Emmanuel Shalem part of the family. Okay, now come on, I think it was around the year 1724. Sadly, his father passed away. He himself would have been about the son who we're speaking about, Rav Shmuel Shalem, would have been about 36 years of age at that point in time. He was a wealthy man. Yitzchak Shalem was, who we've spoken about before on various occasions before. And many people would eulogize him at that point in time. And his father was a supporter of Torah scholars. And I think some of the eulogies that was written over from the great rabbanim, including from Rav Avram Getineo, was actually printed in the book called the Tirat Kesef, I believe, which was, and I think it was actually featured in the Parshat Vayechi section. Maybe I think it was one of the sermons over there, Drush Aleph of the Parshat Vayechi. Now it's actually interesting. He was working, I believe. He did not officially serve in the rabbinate itself, and this is what I think there was great Rabbi Eliezer Nechemias will testify. But he engaged himself in Torah day and night, studying, like, let's say, the different laws and the intricacies of the Gemara, the Masechtot, and had many, many different students. And there was a Beit Midrash, a flourishing Beit Midrash, where he taught Torah to them at a very, very high level. He would grapple with, let's say, the more difficult questions that came about with regards to Talmudic law and the different things that came about. He would deal with in regards to, let's just say, the realm of, let's say, satisfying disputes that were taking on inside the vicinity. There would be, let's say, making as a mediator in of itself, where different people were quarreling on different specific difficult issues, disputes in monetary. He was an arbitrator and really set out to bring about the truth and really brought shalom between people, teaching people, and did a huge amount of kiruv and Torah work. Now, I believe he got married and to his wife. I believe they would have 3 boys and a girl. And I believe his son Yitzhak sadly passed away in his youth. That's what's reported over in the Hayomi.org website, which gives actually good lot of different rabbinic biographies over here. So that's what is actually written on this website itself. I recommend people to look over, because they've really covered maybe at least 1,000 rabbis, especially from the Sephardi, Eidut Mizrach countries in of itself. Now, he was dealing also, as well as he was dealing with Torah a lot and teaching at a high level, he was basing his time on extensive trading business of his family. And I think there was various letters that came back in Constantinople in Greece at the time, where they would actually relate over within regards to his business dealings. I think it's actually, there's extensive written about him. It's the chesed he did is documented, that he gave to the poor, and his table was always prepared for all the people. People could come in. The sages came to his vicinity, to his house. He gave a lot of charity away. He did huge amounts of acts of kindness all throughout the time of the vicinity, and he was really seen as a person in the city, in the community, really, really high up to. I think the Gemilut Chassidim was at a very high level. I think come with the year 1738, his signature will give a haskama, I believe, to the congregation, I think, very much, and do huge amounts of benefiting for the city itself. In 1741, I believe, it was another milestone, let's just say, in his life. He hosted the famous Kabbalist, a great rabbi that came, I think, to his area, a great Mekubal. His name was Rav Shlomo ben Gabriel Abadi, who I think came actually from Aram Sova, from Syria, respectively, over there, which was very, very important milestone trip in of itself. But the great rabbi came, and he would actually give a haskama, I think, in his book, the Sharei Rachamim, which would be published later on in that year. Now, it's actually interesting. Rabbi Shmuel Shalem would suffer some losses, especially in business. It was had tough times. I think he would lose his assets. Unfortunately, there was a lot of problems, maybe anti-Semitic related or business related things, where he would actually leave Saloniki and would arrive in Sofia in Bulgaria. I remember Bulgaria had a Torah community over there, and would arrive, I think, at later stage, after he spent a window of time in Sofia in Bulgaria. He would then set out, I believe, to go to Kushta over there to Turkey. Turkey once also had a very prominent and vibrant, let's say, Jewish community in of its day over there. So he would travel from place to place, and unfortunately, I think anti-Semitically related, he was actually imprisoned for a window of a few months' time. I think eventually he would go to Izmir. Remember, there was a lot of anti-Semitism in those problems, a lot of problems. It wasn't like nowadays, but nowadays also it's not absolutely great. He would go to Izmir, and over there eventually end up in Italy. And in 1749, he would reach Venice over there, where he would spend, reported over, about half a year. And remember, at this point in time, would be teaching Torah and really dealing a lot, traveling a lot. I think in 1750, his son Moshe Shalem, who had moved to Izmir, succeeded in the family business, revived it, and there was various different arrangements that made from the structure of from business point of view. And Rabbi Shmuel Shalem would actually arrive in Izmir, and the business would return to a booming, let's just say, status in of itself. Come on, 1752. He was successful and immigrated to Eretz Israel, come into the land of Israel, and settled in the city of Tiberias. Remember, Tiberias is one of the four holy cities of Israel, along with Tzfat, Hebron, and Jerusalem. And in 1755, he was a Shluchei Rabbanan on behalf of Tiberias. Remember, Shluchei Rabbanan, rabbinic emissary, was seen as a pinnacle position where the head rabbi of Tiberias would actually go and collect funds for the needy and for the poor in various different areas, and strengthen those countries and the cities who would be visiting, giving over sermons, and really injecting a boost in Torah over there. He would travel to Italy, to France and Germany, it's noted. And on his way back, he would pass back through Izmir. And I believe he passed away while he was traveling back at that stage in time. The date estimated that he passed away was around the year 1768. And now after he passed away, his sons published a book called, I believe, called the Melech Shalem, I believe, a great Torah book. And this was a Shelot Shuvot, question and answers book, and various different drashot. I think it was divided into two Chalakim, two different sections. And as I stated before, his book, the Melech Shalem, I think the last sentences were actually written on the 20th of Iyar. That's why some people would actually, let's say, commemorate his Hilula on this specific day, to recognize that the endings of the book had been done. So he lived approximately a guesstimate of about 80 years, if we go by the theory that he was born in 1688 and passed away in 1768. He was a great rabbi of his time, one of the famous, well-traveled rabbis, one of the famous Shluchei Rabbanan, rabbinic emissaries of his place. Now, friends, if you descend from any of the great rabbis we're speaking about in this series, please send me an email. I would love to hear more within regards to that. We are a community here. We're learning about the great Oriental, Spanish, or North African rabbis of yesteryear. We've covered about 950 biographies of great rabbis. We're the only place, probably pretty much on the internet, there might be a few other places, they'll do biography videos on the great Sephardic Chachamim of yesteryear. So please subscribe now to the channel. We're nearly on 7,000 members. If anyone's interested in watching these videos, share the videos to other people and tell them to subscribe also. Wishing all a good Lag BaOmer. Tonight happens to be the Jewish festival of Lag BaOmer. I'm recording this. Obviously, in 2 days' time will be the Hilul, marked the Hilul, according to some people, of Rabbi Shmuel Shalem because of the reasons of his book. Wishing you well. Watch over all the other videos. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Here from the city of Bet Shemesh in Israel. Thanks very much and be well. Thank you.